Hi, welcome to the interview. I'm here with.
Pika. Hi.
Hi. Okay, so first of all, how about you introduce yourself? What do you want people to know about you right off the bat?
I'm Pika. I have been playing competitive Splatoon basically since the beginning in Splatoon 1 in 2015, so I've been around for a long time. This obviously again do a lot of like tournaments stuff like that. Been on a few teams. Maybe we'll get into that later. I also do YouTube videos. I stream on Twitch on occasion, and I also do coaching. So I get around quite a bit.
So, what's been your favorite moment from coaching? Like, have there ever been huge light bulb moments for the teams?
Anything on that for a second? I definitely have been. I'm trying to think of like particular moments. Um, I also both do like team coaching and individuals. There's also been like nice moments from each of those. Um, I think probably my favorite moment actually with coaching a team was, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I always forget how to say their name. The team name, it starts with like Ika, and they won Low Ink a few months ago, but I always forget
Oh,
how to pronounce the team name. Um, but they got a coaching session with me like as a team like the week before that Low Ink, and just like we feel like we could win this tournament. We just have a few problems we need to like iron out in terms of synergy. And I just like went deep into that and like, okay, we think we get it, and then they won Low Ink
you
like the
know?
next week. And I was like, I feel pretty good about that. Like, I feel good
Yeah,
about
I'd say that was an
so,
effective coaching session.
yeah.
If they go and win the
Do you like
tournament they're
to
trying to win.
boast about that one? So
Yeah, that's definitely a good one to be able to boast about.
yeah.
So, Pika,
Yeah, that
what
was
got.
just the whole session was good too. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So, Pika, what got you into Splatoon?
Oh my. Okay. This is always a fun one to sort of tell because again I've been around since like 2015. I remember I was in middle school at the time. Um and a friend of mine just told me like I didn't watch E3 back then. I didn't know that like existed. But, like a
Yeah.
friend of mine told me like, "Did you see that new like Squid Game they showed at E3? Like it looks fun. It looks like this cool movement. We should try it." And I was like, I didn't even hear about it. I was like, "Sure, why not? I'd play a game with you, bro." And then I actually looked into it and saw stuff about like the test fire that was coming up, and I was like, "Sure, why not? I'll try it." And I saw like the only reason I even knew the test fire was going on, like at the time it was, is because there was actually a stream by the J-Wits, like the
Oh.
Pokemon YouTuber, doesn't do a lot anymore, but he'd like to do like some other games too. And I wanted to like try to lobby snipe him. I did not get in this lobby, but that was the way I originally tried the game. Was like middle school friend told me about it. I wanted to lobby snipe J-Wits, and I ended up just like loving the game. Something about it just clicked with me like right
Yeah.
away. Like obviously I was bad. We were all bad at the test fire, but just like something about the movement and like the colors and like the way the weapons worked and stuff. I was like, this is just so unique. So I bought the game like right on release and just played it a whole bunch. And after only a few months, I figured out about came across like on YouTube and Twitch, Squids Next Door. I believe there's
Oh,
another team now
nice.
that's taken that name, but the original
Yeah,
Squids Next
yeah.
Door. I was in Rocket's chat all the time in Twitch, and that's actually how I found competitive Splatoon. That's how I got Discord. That's how I got Twitter, just to keep up with Squids Next Door. And then at some point, some people in that server were like, "We want to make a team. We want to fight against Squids Next Door in tournament. Let's make our own team." And that's how I got my first team in late 2015.
That is.
And ever since then, I've just been in the ladder grinding up. But,
Well, and you've been pretty
yeah,
consistently grinding up, to be fair. There have been a few deviations over time, but you've been very consistently high to top level for a while now. How do you feel about
yeah, for
that?
sure. Um, Good and bad. I feel
That's
like
fair.
because I've been like seen as a pretty solid player and like kind of high level. Some people call me top level. Some top level players definitely disagree with that, but most people at least should be being high level. It's nice to have that respect for so long and kind of feel like I've seen a lot and played through a lot because of that. Like I feel like I have a lot of nice perspectives on the game and even just like community through that. And it's also just nice to have a fair bit of confidence. Like, yeah, I haven't really done terrible in a long time. I definitely wish I could do better. That's sort of the other part, where it's
Yeah.
like I feel like I've been on the cusp for a very long time. So sometimes it's
Yes.
also frustrating. It's like I've been consistently great, but I have not been a god. Like I want to elevate beyond great. I want to be like the best. And it feels like that also I've been hitting my head against that wall for a long time. So it's kind of a trade-off. Like I know I can do better and I want to do better, but also, hey, I'm still doing pretty good. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I that's definitely a feeling I think a lot of people get. They just it not to the
Mhm.
same degree obviously, because like you have been on the verge of top level for, a few years.
Yeah, like it was even like the end of Splatoon 1, early
Yeah,
Splatoon
yeah.
2 is when I heard like top players at the time like start recognizing me, being like, this guy has potential. And that was like what, 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
So it's been a
Yeah,
while.
sure. 6. It might be more like 7, but
Oh God, no, don't tell me
But
that.
yeah, I think a lot of players can kind of relate to that feeling of I'm so close to the next step and I just can't quite find my breakthrough. And, you know,
Mhm.
it kind of is what it is. All you can do is keep trying and keep pushing, right?
Yep.
So, do you have a favorite memory from Splatoon? Like a favorite moment you've had? Because I know you've had a lot of teams you've been very close to and a lot of really great friends you've made from them.
Oh my, there's a lot of memories. I definitely have to think about that one. I think like the easiest answer has to be winning Shine. Like the last land minus Riptide of Splatoon 2. And the
Hmm.
Riptide was also like Splatoon 3. It's
Yes.
kind of like that weird transition that weekend. But the last like proper, truly Splatoon 2 land Shine, my team Cherry Limeade, we won it in a very like awesome grand finals, like bracket reset, all that
Hmm.
against like Power Hunty, who else was it? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank right now. It was just like playing against people I respect and I consider friends, and just having such a hype set. Obviously, playing alongside friends as well with the team, and
Yeah.
ending up like winning at the end. That was just so exciting. Like it was just that entire set, that entire lane was just a really great time. But there's been so many good memories. That one's just. It feels like it's hard to say that's not it, but
That's
there's
fair.
so much. A lot of it comes from lands because lands are just so different as well.
They are. Lancer. You've seen how I like to do a LAN.
Yep.
You know, I show up and I do my commentary.
Yeah, we
maybe
appreciate that.
maybe I'm hoping to get to LTC and actually play this year. Hopefully this time I'll play
Oh,
the
that'd be so
game.
fun.
I'm on a team right now. So, and the team's going. So, hopefully this time for
Good luck. Good
sure I
luck.
play the game.
I'm hoping to make it to LTC because it's just
It's
like
the
last year.
best
It's at the
one.
very end of my finals week in college,
It is.
so I just have to pray I don't have a Saturday final. I have to pray.
And just see if your
But
professor will let you take it early. Just,
yeah,
shoot him
that
an
does
email.
happen. I have to see. My college is weird about it though. They're like, you have to prove that someone is like dying to reschedule a final. So, it'll
Yeah.
be tough, but hopefully I'll make it. And I just signed up for Genesis, so I'll be
Nice.
going for that as
Genesis
well.
is so exciting.
Mhm.
I was it's one I really want to get to if it goes back to it because I think just being able to say I was at a Genesis for Splatoon and played or commentated, it's just a cool thing to get to say.
Absolutely. Genesis that just has like clout in
It
the land
does.
sphere. It's just one of the OGs. It's so big now.
It is.
It's just
It's
awesome to even be there.
it's a similar vibe for me of like I commentated at Big House. Like that was cool. We were there one time for some reason. Splatoon was there one time.
One time.
Just one
Hey,
off.
we take it.
We
Just like
do.
Shine.
Yeah. But Big House is still going on.
Mhm.
Okay. So you've been in the scene for a very long time. What are your
Yep.
thoughts
A
on
long one.
how it's changed? And what would you want to see change?
Hmm. Yeah, I have to do a lot of thinking back on that
And that
to
is
remember what was
okay.
pushed. Um, I definitely just one of the most awesome things, just in general, of like the size of the scene. I really appreciate how much that grows and like has been growing over time because like it's one of those things you'll hear a lot of like comp players, especially some of the older players, like time and time again, be like, "Oh, the game is dying, the scene is dying." Like that happens all the time. It happens in every sphere, every scene. People start getting doomer about it, but like nah, it's just to be able to see that steady growth, steady like just coming in of like new players arriving, getting interested in the game. Like that's something as well through content and through coaching. Like the more I get into that, like the number of
Yeah.
times, even still now, like Splatoon 3 has been out for over a year, and still I hear so many people like come into my coaching and I'll ask them like that's always the first thing I ask, like, what's your history with the game?
Hmm.
And so many people are still like, I learned about competitive 6 months ago and I want to try it. Like and it's just that always warms my heart.
It's
So
so special.
we're doing a good job. Um, so that's the thing I just always happy about because as cozy as it was back in like early Splatoon 1, like we're just there was a few big clans and everyone knew each other. Like it always bigger better.
Hmm.
Um, just happy to share this game with more people and have events and all that be bigger. I mean, even
Yeah.
we were talking about lands before. Like the last few lands have
Right?
been bigger. Like it wasn't like with LTC was the biggest, and then Riptide was the biggest just after that. Like in terms of signups, like we keep growing. Proof right there.
Yeah, and it's
But
especially with
yep.
Splatoon 3, it's been amazing to see the growth. Like low ink getting to the point it's at now is absolutely wild to me.
Oh my god, yeah, low ink is a whole thing. God, we didn't have something like that back in the
No,
day.
we
Like
didn't
that.
have something like that
We
when I
never
first
did
started
that.
playing comp,
Yeah,
and I came pretty I came toward in like late 2018, early 2019. There was,
man.
yeah, it's, you
What
know.
even was low ink actually? Because like that, I missed it. Like
So it
honestly,
was in
when
a
I kind of
6 month
became a
window
pretty
when I
good
like
player.
stopped playing. And then I showed
Hmm.
up and low ink was like, no, it was like a year because I messed up my elbow at one point. So I like couldn't physically
Oof.
play. It's fine. Animal Crossing came out. It was fine. I had something. Um, but But yeah, Low Ink came out during that span, and I wasn't keeping super close eyes on the game because the whole reason I got super into comp originally was because of Team Olive, and Team Olive had disbanded,
Oh
and
my
I
god,
went
you just sent me back.
big Team
Team
Olive
Olive.
Ghost gaming person. It is a problem for me in commentating sometimes because I'm just like,
Hmm.
I could talk about the history of Team Olive here and how they impacted Western Splatoon and the comps that were run, and people don't want that usually.
No, I had a moment thinking about them the other day on streams. I was talking about like my history with Brellas because most people don't know. Like in early Splatoon 2, I played a lot of Brella.
Yeah.
I talked about like why I dropped it. I was like, yeah, we'd play against like teams overseas, like in Europe, and like it would just the lag, like the latency would be a little too bad because the ocean. And I was just like, who was the top team that we kept losing? I was like, it's not Alliance Rogue. I was like, it's Olive. Oh my god,
To be
Olive was a thing.
to be fair,
Um,
Alliance Rogue was half Team Olive.
Yeah, that is fair, but just like I feel like they've been known as Alliance Rogue for so long that like to think like yeah there was something before that. I think
Interesting.
Ghost, gets
Interesting.
sponsored
To
now.
me, everything is Ghost Gaming and Team Olive in my brain. Everything in
That's fair.
Splatoon I can tie into those things, which to be fair, makes sense with the players on those teams. They are
Yeah.
staples in the community. All of them, besides Soren. Yeah, besides Soren, still active
Mhm.
somewhere in Splatoon to this day, which is just wild.
It is awesome. It makes me feel less alone. More
Yes.
people have been stuck here as long as I have. It's
Absolutely.
funny too because when I think of like when I first heard about Kivir and players like that, I think of like Kraken Paradise, Kukulkan. Like I'm
Yeah.
part of that squad, so like
To be
Olive to
fair,
me is like middle of my history.
that's
I was
fair.
thinking about that.
See, my brain still associates my favorite era of Splatoon gameplay as Kraken Paradise versus Team Olive in 90% of grand finals.
All right, that's fair.
That was my personal. That's what got me into this game. That's why I came here. I would watch every Brian stream. Uh,
He's the goat.
he is. Just there's not a thing Brian can't play at this point, especially with all the salmon run now. And it's like, Brian, it's too bad you live where you live, buddy.
Yeah, like that's the crazy thing too. Like bro is crazy at competitive, like and just a chill guy in general. But then also just like casually one of the best salmon runners in the world. I'm like,
Also
how'd you do
used to speed run.
that?
Just used to casually
Yeah,
speed run between
he
sets.
just
Like
he
that
just does
was
it all.
normal. There are just some
I love that
players.
guy.
Yeah, Brian seems so cool. I've always wanted to talk to Brian, and I always chicken out.
I did like a like invitational like draft kind of tournament with him at the very start of Splatoon
Oh,
3,
I remember
and
those.
it's
Those
like
were cool.
yeah the Monkey King
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah, I did the first one I played with him, and we won it. So that was a great time.
I'm sure. Always nice to come out with a win. Always,
Hmm.
always a great feeling. So back to more of a focus on you. Are there any goals other than just getting into top level that you're currently working on? It could be coaching, it could be playing, it could be content, just any Splatoon related goals.
Ooh, there's a lot, but I'm trying to like right now. I'm in the phase of like trying to put it all in context.
Yes.
Always like you said, main big goal is just winning. I
Yeah.
want to get good at the game,
Yeah.
get better. I guess right now, like it is a bit of an interesting context because for a long time, especially with like Cherry and Limeade, for a long time, to playing with them for like over 2 years, it's always when I was thinking about getting better, it's like how do we as a team improve? But right now, since I'm sort of between teams trying to find my next home, like it's a lot more of a self-centered
Hmm.
focus. So I'm like, trying to learn meta weapons that I'd never really like played much on my own to try to understand them better and like round out my own like personal player skill sets.
Yeah.
Which just feels a bit different, which is nice. I definitely feel like I'm making nice progress on that, by the way. But
That's good.
yeah, yeah, like outside of the game though, content, coaching, all that, kind of looking to grow it. The big struggle is balancing that with college because I found like, especially like this last semester, I was had big plans. Like so many big video projects I want to make. Like I'm loving coaching. I feel like I'm getting better at it, more confident with it, and it's just like actually in practice when I'm like have 2 exams a week and I'm tired and going to class all the time. I'm like, when do I actually open up coaching booking? When do I actually have time to write this video script? Oh, it's difficult. So to me, it's actually like more of a real life, like how do I find a balance to work on these things that I
Hmm.
have so much ambitions for? Because like I have a crazy backlog of video projects I want to do, but it's like it's been hard to tackle it. But I want to because content's been very rewarding and coaching.
I can
But
definitely
you
understand that feeling between.
know,
I'm getting a master's right now.
oh jeez,
In,
I'm just a junior in undergrad, so I'm sorry.
oh, you're probably in a more intense field than me. I'm doing museum studies. They don't.
Oof.
Nah, it's laid back. Even compared to like my undergrad program, it's actually kind of easier to find time with, which I didn't
Mhm.
expect. Um, they haven't asked me to write a single 35-page paper yet, so that's been great.
Okay, we take that.
Yeah, my undergrad program would do that.
I figured that was the implication. I'm
Yep,
sorry about that.
it's okay. I got a history degree. It's expected.
Nice. I'm currently in chemistry, so oof, it's
Ooh.
it's a grind, but
One of my
it's
friends
fun.
from the first team I was ever on, I keep trying to drag back in, but they're getting an aerospace engineering degree, and it's like,
Oh no,
well,
bros
you're not
down.
coming
Sorry.
back.
No, no.
They'll play Salmon Run with me sometimes. They go to the local meetups here. So that's always fun. It's always nice to get to.
That's awesome.
It's so incredible just the amount of people you can get to meet through Splatoon. That's always my favorite thing about the scene is just the
Oh my god,
people.
yeah. That's another whole thing. Like then, first of all, there's so many great friends I've made through this scene. But the other thing too is like that sort of what you're just saying just now, like makes me think like there's people from my first ever teams, like in Splatoon 1, even that like I still catch up with sometimes. We're still
Hmm.
good friends, even though we haven't played in a tournament together in like 6 years. Like, hey, we met them, like we met each other through the game. We got close by having to like work together all the time and just hanging out. And it's like these are friends for life.
They really are.
It's just
And
it's so cool.
I don't have a lot of experience with other competitive games, but they definitely don't seem to have that same spirit to them of, yeah, these are my friends now. What do you mean? Why would I play with people that aren't my friends? Because even at top level, what I've noticed is at least on the outside, it seems like everyone gets along pretty well. There'll be shit talking, but like that's for fun
Yeah,
usually.
it's often often means well. It's just kind of banter. It's very
Exactly.
rare that there's like personal beef. I think a big part of that is like a combination of the like smaller scene. Like even though like we are saying before, Splatoon has been growing
Yeah.
a lot. Like it's still in the grand scheme of things on the smaller
Yeah.
side, as well as like being a team game. Because like
Yes.
I came from Smash before this. I think a lot of other people did too. And like you knew people in your local scene, like that was about it because you didn't really like play much online, or if you did, you were just doing like for glory or whatever the equivalent of the time was,
Hmm.
doing Slippy or something. Like you're just playing someone, you fight them, and you're done. Like in Splatoon, if you want to play the game, you want to do a pickup, like you have to reach out to 3 people in VC, or you don't have to VC with them, but you oftentimes will. You're communicating with those people like in order to even just do a scrim or just send a Q set or whatever. So
Yeah.
there's a lot more ways to actually just have to work with people and just meet people to even participate. And it kind of just lends itself to developing more connections, I think,
What
which is
I
really cool.
Yeah, what I always find interesting is especially because I've also helped coach a couple like really new teams. You can always tell which players have played actual team sports before.
Oh my god, yes.
You do have an inherent advantage in Splatoon if you have played an actual team sport, and this is the hill I will die on. Like you will have a little bit more instinct on what other people will do, and that makes a big difference.
Absolutely. That seems like another funny side tangent of like the amount of origins like some people I coach have like come from. I always find that interesting because
Yeah.
like there are a lot of people like this is their first game or their first like shooter, like your first competitive experience. But there's other people like I've coached a few people that've been like, yeah, I was like global elite in CS:GO. I was like, what are you doing here? But
Wait, the
like,
other games
or
pay
like,
money. Why aren't you over
yeah,
there?
like there's
There's
been
no
Valorant
money
players,
here.
CS:GO players, like Apex. There was a chess guy who just showed up.
Oh,
Like So in what else? What other games? Like there's Rainbow Six. There was someone like a couple people who've played League.
Oh
Like I'm like,
wow.
first of all, why y'all coming here? But welcome nonetheless.
I mean,
But
we'll
just
be
like
less toxic than
everyone
at
made it
least
like fun.
League.
Yeah, oh for sure. Even just yeah, outside of like esports, like the number of times like people
Yeah.
are like, yeah, like that, I'm a teacher, I'm a professor, like I'm a real life sports coach, like stuff like that. Especially
Yeah.
some of the older people,
I
it's just like
always
the number of backgrounds. It's so neat.
I always find hearing what sports people grew up playing really interesting. Or I guess sometimes they're still in high school, which like good for them. I'm old. But like finding out about the sports they grew up playing and stuff. Like I was like a national level horseback rider. Like it's always interesting to hear if they played a real sport and what it was. Like I did volleyball and horseback and I was like I grinded horseback the way I grind Splatoon when I look at it. Like
Yeah,
I was
the
there
skills
seven
transfer.
days a week. Less so with horseback. Sadly, it is one of the
I mean,
one
at
that
least it's like
transfers
some of the
less.
mental stuff. At
Oh,
least
the
I mean,
mental
like the
absolutely.
grind set. Yeah,
Yeah, the mental absolutely. Other than the fact that I don't have a 1,000 pound animal that I need to
yeah,
stay calm for.
yeah. Actual game's a little different, but just
It's way easier to get
the
panicky
actual
about
discipline.
Splatoon. Because with
Yeah.
horses, it's like if I get panicky, they'll get panicky and everything's gonna go wrong. With Splatoon, it's like if I get panicky, the consequences I lose, but I'm not gonna get bones broken.
Yes, is a little bit better.
Yeah, it was easier to convince myself to push off the panic until I got off the horse.
Mhm.
But mid game in Splatoon, sometimes my brain will just go, no, only fear. And that's life. And it's just part of
That
the
is
game
life. Yeah.
sometimes. Surely this
So
is a
like, even
normal
just
experience.
yeah, even then, like some of that skill probably still carries over. Just like
Oh, yeah.
managing stress. Like, obviously, sometimes it slips, but
Yeah,
it's some
absolutely.
things that can be taken.
So, how have you stayed motivated to keep playing? Because, like you've mentioned, you've felt, I had imagined stuck's not the word because I'm sure you've also felt like you're improving. It's just that the whole scene is improving. But how do you stay motivated to keep playing?
Ooh, yeah, that's a really good one. It's sort of like I think even what I've been thinking about a bit like recently myself, because like I said, I'm sort of in like a self-reflective, self-improvement mode right now, rather than thinking about a team because I'm still currently in FA. But it sort of comes from like various different sources. Sometimes I do feel this really motivated of like I believe like soon will be the time that I break through. Just keep grinding. But I find it more over time is that it also comes from a lot of like out of game sources. Like I think it's a big reason why I originally wanted to get into content and coaching and
Mm,
streaming and things like that. It's the thinking of like when I engage with the game, like it's not just me in the game and my own improvement. Like I can't just like tunnel in on that too hard because like
yeah.
if I start getting burnt out, if I start feeling demotivated, like well I can still get on the game to get video clips for a video, or I can still get on the game to do a VOD review with someone. Like it's not always about me, so I don't get like hyper focused, hyper stressed about my own improvement. But still, by engaging with the game, still thinking about it, still talking about my thoughts and perspectives, like all that, it still grows me. It still like helps me analyze better, helps me shot call better, it helps me play better, like whatever. So
Hmm.
I think that's been like a massive thing for me. Is that I can still every day like think about Splatoon for hours, but even like I might not actually even be playing it that much. Like I might be working on a video, doing a VOD review, doing whatever, but I'm still like engaging with the game in some capacity, and that keeps it like super fresh,
It
like all
also
the time.
sounds like a very healthy mental to have towards grinding, which is not something
Yeah,
I hear a ton of people have. Like, I know a few people that will just sit down and do Squid Aimer for hours, which is good to do. Squid Aimer is a good
some
resource.
people.
I don't know. You don't know any
Could
of
be
the
anyone.
people I've talked
Yeah.
to. What do you mean? It is not super guessable if you have talked to the people.
No, 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 not at
I
all.
have never met anyone who has sat down and played Squid Aimer for 8 hours, for sure. Always, it's always just really interesting to see how different people approach it, though, because there was a point where I put in like 1,500 hours in 8 months, and I didn't burn
Mhm.
out from it. But if I were to do that now, I would.
Yeah, it definitely does like come and go at times. Like for example, even like right now, like I have been playing the game a lot these last 2 days because first of all, I have a bit of free time between semesters,
Yep.
but also like I do feel really motivated with that like self kind of focused like mechanical improvement, like rounding out my own skills kind of thing. But there's other eras where I'm more like, what about the macro sense of the game? What about team play? What about like analyzing meta or like strategies rather than actually just purely grinding physically, and I have plenty of outlets to engage with that. So I think that's the big thing.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. So, on a slightly different topic, is there like a dream comp for you to play in? Like a dream set of weapons? If you could just say that you can find a player for any weapons you'd want at the level you'd want them, what would be like your dream comp to play in?
Ooh, I have to think about how unhinged I would get here.
That
That's
is
another
why
part
this.
of what I'm really focusing on is like obviously people know Limeade and me for like our outlandish ideas.
To
So if
be
it's kind
fair,
of like
I think
random,
back to Azure more for
yeah.
that than even Limeade.
Oh god, oh that was most people don't even know about that, but that was
Oh,
even better. The
well,
double
to be
custom was
fair, I
awesome.
Silver was my coach and talked about Azure a lot. So
Hey, we were cooking. We were cooking.
I enjoyed it.
Um,
I enjoyed seeing what you guys would cook in tournaments.
like it probably actually would be like stuff closer to that.
Hmm.
Yeah, like I guess again for kind of context, like what I'm currently thinking about in terms of like compositions was like obviously with Azure and with Cherry Limeade, it was just like crazy ideas, throw it out and just see what sticks and what doesn't. Let's just like learn. Let's
Hmm.
just like see what the limits are. But now like the reason I'm focusing on learning meta stuff is to see like from the other perspective rather than it being like what crazy ideas stick. It's more like why do the established ideas work? Like what actual
Hmm.
qualities do they have in terms of these weapons and like the dynamics of the comps and stuff like that. So I'm trying to find like a balance where I could take that stuff, internalize it, and truly understand it, and then like
Yeah.
apply craziness to it again. So that's what I'm thinking about right now. It's
Learn
like
it so you can break it.
exactly. So I'm like, what kind of crazy Pika idea could I make with a comp that also now I could say in good consciousness like actually would function. So that's like what I'm kind of thinking about right now. I don't think I can make like an exact list of like weapons, but always like generally another thing too, just like very personal preference. I love like hyper aggressive playstyles.
Wow, really?
I'm
I
kind of
had no
of the
clue.
philosophy. Yeah, I'm just like of the philosophy of like if I could just make my opponent like if I force them to do as much stuff as possible, like minimize how safely and comfortably they can do anything, like that's just good, no? Like
Yeah.
why should I give them space to play the game when I could just tell them no? Um, so it'd definitely be something really aggressive. Like I really don't like playing with like traditional backlines, so like
Mm.
that 'cause it feels like it puts a lot of weight on like individuals to go like pop off and like just get crazy kills. Whereas I like comps where just
Yeah.
all four people can like fight together and just you're never stuck in a 1v1 because everyone's always participating. So I like blob so much. I can reach into every fight across the map. I'm always there. um, but I haven't been playing blob as much as I play. But in ideal comp, I probably would be on it again. Yeah, probably
It
just a lot of like high paint, high movement, like aggressively capable stuff to
yeah.
some degree.
I'm
I
assuming
love
a
playing
wiper shows up in there.
a wiper, a stamper, maybe sometimes what's on it. Yeah, probably. Yeah, God, yeah. There's a lot to think about, like in
There
terms of weapons.
is. But I get the
The
idea of
yeah,
something with long range that's super hypermobile and can help in every fight.
yeah,
And then three things that can skirmish and hold their own at the same time kind of
yeah,
vibe.
yeah. Exactly. But it was like blob, ballpoint probably. And like +2, just like
Yeah,
go
yeah,
crazy, go stupid. like like gal splash or something. I don't know. Like wiper splash.
maybe
Could be anything.
even maybe like Stamper. Uh yeah. I mean, I think you
Even
probably
stamper
actually
over
said this.
ballpoint.
Yeah, that's what I was about to
Yeah.
say. I don't know. I'm really into the crab stamper right now. It occupies so much of
Oh
my
my god.
mental space. For somebody who is never going to play it, it occupies so much space in my brain.
I feel you there. I'm trying to figure out if it's something I'll actually like playing competitive or not long
It's
term. I've
just
been trying
so
to get caught
good.
in like Sendu. Yeah, like because I love the main weapon of Stamper, and I understand why people like the vanilla kit, but Zipcaster just makes me sad
Yeah.
because I'm like I love playing Stamper and like spamming crazy pain output and giant hitboxes and being like, wow, I'm walling the opponent out. And then my special
Yeah.
says time to go die. And I'm like, wait, why do I want to go die? Like I'm walling this guy out. So like the Neo kit actually lets you do
The
that. So
Neo
like just
kit.
mist and grab on them.
I also
I'm
am
trying to
such
fix
a
that.
big fan of Mist as a person to an
Yes.
insane degree. And this is a publicly known fact about me at this point. I bring it up every time I see Toxic Mist because it's just so good in the situations it's good in.
Absolutely. When it was the first sub I made a utility guide on. He kickstarted that series. So I definitely like it too. I mean, the other thing about Stanford Neo is also is like it gives me the vibes of a V-try in this game. Because I
Yeah.
played a lot of that at the start of the game because I was like, wait, Inkjet's kind of broke when that bomb defense. I was kind of like ahead of that curve. That's crazy.
Mhm.
That's kind of a theme. Side point. Sometimes I'm right about things.
At the start
But
of the
yes,
game, within the first 2 weeks, Silver and Crim had already started using double crab.
yep. They're figuring it out. Yeah,
Just
like I
instant.
became very very familiar with mist plus long range chip damage killing
Oh,
special
it's so
because of that.
good.
I'm just like, yes, I see the flowcharts. Like, and then just put that with the actual stamp as a main weapon. I'm just like, holy, it feels really fun.
Yeah,
It's very
everything about
clunky.
that.
Like I'm having to get
Oh,
used to
yeah.
the weapon, but the more I learn it, the more I'm like, wow, this is broken. So it's
Yeah.
been a great time.
I'm so interested in seeing what that weapon ends up being in comp. Because I can't ever see there being like, I could see there being two of them in a comp. I could see how that might potentially work in very niche situations. But I can't ever see it being so overwhelmingly prevalent because it doesn't, to most people, it won't feel satisfying to play.
That is fair. I'm sort of waiting for the day that people realize we just run one of each stamper because I keep seeing people be like, which one is better? Like, oh,
The
this vanilla
answer
weapon in
is
this
all
situation,
of
that
them are
USB in this
really
situation. I'm
good.
just like, run both. When are we gonna try that one?
They both
Um,
paint. They are both good. You toss a midliney anchor thing in there and a short range shooter or dually, you're probably cooking.
maybe that's the real dream comp. Me on Neo Stamper, someone else on Vanilla Stamper, then just like two shooters. Just go crazy.
Maybe even a Nautilus with how much paint you're going to have between two stampers and a shooter, though.
True. Or like Try Nouveau. Ooh, Try Nouveau.
Ooh,
Ooh.
that would be kind of
Ooh.
spicy. And then you even get your cooler without needing a zap. That's pretty
Yeah,
fun.
you get the cooler, you get fizzy chip damage off the 70 verticals. Ooh, okay, that's kind of devious.
And you have
Very
object
problematic.
damage for
Yeah,
Rainmaker. Ooh.
you
Oh
deny other
no.
crab. You can't have
Oh
a crab
no.
against you. You win the crab war.
Not the crab
Oh, that's
war.
actually so true. The V stamper just zips on the crabs that oppose you. So you just win the crab one. Wait, hold on. We have
Oh
time here.
no, we might have cooked. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Definitely could be like that could be a fun comp. I don't know what random shooter you throw in there. You might even throw like a Tetra in there. No.
Ooh.
Maybe. Maybe a wiper over a Tetra still though.
3 Sultanas.
What's
How about 4?
wrong?
That's
Well,
it. We'll
you
give you
know?
Sultanas.
They all
There's the comp.
paint. That's the problem. They all paint.
Yeah, it doesn't really have any like huge weaknesses aside from like kill time, and that's only if you're not like insta killing them up close. But if you have a bunch of them, they just chip off each other.
And then you have a Tri Nouveau throwing fizzies. So is Tri
Maybe
Nouveau the new Fizzy Luna? This is my question for you. Is that what's happening in there?
it might be.
Mm.
That is to be determined, but that may or may not be getting tested right now. So that might be getting explored.
Everyone surely remembers the Luna Neo
If you were
cooking that
around in
happened.
Splatoon 2, you remember it. Yeah.
The Luna
Um,
E-liter. Who could forget the E-liter 5K?
E-liter 5K. I've been waiting for like the perfect weapon return because like that was the thing with the Luna Neo. Like, it was the Storm plus Luna main
Mm-hmm.
weapon like in particular. This is the fact that I could sit there and spam fizzies and then throw Inkstorm and then throw more fizzies and just win neutral. And then if you push me, I'm a Luna Blast. Just like, what do you do about that? Because when trying on other fizzy weapons in this game, I've tried it on like Machine. It's like Machine doesn't just blow you up instantly with
It's
Luna.
too slow.
Yeah. Like, so Try feels pretty good with it because you have like the main weapon that kills you if you push it, and you have like the fizzy spam, and like Cooler is good, but it's not like
It's not
Cooler's not like
Storm
this
good.
in the same way. Yeah, like, but it's still very strong. It's definitely the best candidate so far.
Yes.
But every patch, I am kind of just keeping an eye on the fizzy weapons. I'm like, well, you be the one.
Well, they're sure giving us a lot of them this game. Oof. There have been so many fizzies and so few torpedoes. My personal problem.
Right?
They finally
Right?
give me my torpedo undercover, and I can't play it.
I've been loving Sunder. Just every time I
It's
play in
so
something independently
cool.
set, I'm like, do they ban screen or not? Can I play this or do I have to do something else? But
It's just, I love how they set up Sunder. I think screen with it's really cool. I wish, obviously, that screen was implemented. I actually don't think it's that bad right now. I think it's pretty okay where it's at, because it was bugging me a little bit before the patch, and now it's kind of like, this is way better. But obviously, it's up to the TOs. It's always up to the TOs.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for TOs for doing what they do, because I don't want to do it.
Yeah. I'm personally just like, let's just universal gentleman's rule. Like I'm
Yeah,
just like,
I mean
please,
that's what I
please just do that.
that's my personal stance too. Like,
Yeah.
why can't it just be gentleman's rule? Most Splatoon teams are gonna be pretty chill. Like, I know very few that wouldn't be chill. AKA, I can't think of any, and that says a
Hmm.
lot.
Yeah. Because I just like, first of all, yeah, Sunder, like you're saying, it's just a
Yeah,
fun weapon.
it's
I'm so happy
so
to have like a good
fun.
attack. Like that's been the weapon I've been playing the most since the patch.
It's
At least
such
like
a
on my own
fun
time.
weapon. I loved
Yeah.
Kunder in Splatoon
Hmm.
2. I just love Undercover and Torpedo together. And then you
It's
run
so good.
QR on it, and it's so funny because you're never getting a kill.
Yeah.
You
I've been
can.
actually running like a lot of Subsaver on it because I love just
Oh.
like rolling torpedo in every single 1v1 just to insta kill people. So like I have it where I can like roll torp kill someone, roll torp kill someone, just like back to back.
See, my
Um,
favorite thing to do
it's just
is
great.
have another player that's on like a stamper move in with me, and then if I die, I die. But they've gotten in for free, and I'll be
Oh,
back in a half
absolutely.
second.
Yeah, like that's the other thing too with Sunder, or like in this game, because I think armor in Splatoon, like Splatoon 2, made people like really be like, "Oh, this is a support weapon," and like it worked fine as a support weapon. Like it was
But you
doing
could do
well like on
support
armor and
and
torpedo.
skirmish.
Yeah, but it's such a good skirmisher, exactly, because like you just sure you kill things slowly, but people also kill you slowly. Like in torpedo is still crazy good. Like I played so much wiper at the start of this game. I
Right?
got like so familiar with how to like swing corners and set up like effective 2v1s and actual 1v1 because torpedo. And I'm just like, sometimes I just push people with thunder and I'm like, yeah, I feel confident I'll win this fight. And then I just go back and then I paint up the map and throw a screen and like split space and go back to being like
Yeah.
supporty. But just taking those moments like fight, I'm just like, yes, the weapon was made to do this. And it
And
feels great.
Undercover suffers from Brella lag the least.
Yes, because you have to drop it the least times. So
Exactly. Okay,
no,
so
I'm
one.
loving it. I'm glad as another appreciator. Yeah.
Okay, so one final question for you. What are you
Mhm.
hoping for with the future of Splatoon?
Ooh, is this like a sense of the game or the scene or both? Or
I
what are we feeling?
personally, I'd prefer both. I was more thinking the scene, but I'd love to know what you'd love to see out of the game itself, also.
We can start with the game. Because I don't have any like crazy particular ideas. I just hope that the game continues to have like quality of life changes.
Mhm.
Because like it's sort of like a joke. I say a joke, and it's like a thing that's in my head. Where it's like I see a lot of comp players put out like dream patch notes. Like you see Chara do it all the time. Like other
Yeah.
people do as well. Like I want these balance changes. Like we are discussing whether or not certain balance changes would be good for the game. It's like that's great. But like when I think of like a dream patch, I'm like, let's give the robot in the lobby more functionality. Let's like
Yeah.
make special power no longer actively hurt Inkstorm by reducing its pain output. Like
Let's
let's
make
fix these little
spectator
things.
mode. Let's
Let's
make
make spectator
spectator
better.
mode show the deaths and special count again,
Yeah,
please.
like
Why did
these are
they
all the things
take
I
that
think about.
away?
I'm just like, let's make the game like even better to actually like just physically play. Like balance changes, that's awesome to discuss. Like I love balance changes, that's great.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I always in my head like these things are first. I'm like, let's make the game feel even more complete because they've
Hmm.
done a great job compared to Splatoon 2. Like
Yeah.
with replays, with the new lobby, with just raw other features
With
like getting
everything that's
added.
not
Yeah,
spectator mode.
yeah, that's not spectator mode. Even then, like the recent graph they added, like that's awesome. I never thought they'd do something like that, and that has already been like super nice for me in coaching.
Yeah.
Like there's a time I was watching a team recently, just like both them and the opponent were just doing crack and cheese and clavelets all the time. And I was trying to explain like why I'm like, sure that gets you points, but you wipe out and lose map control because of it. And I was like, wait, let me just pull up the graph, and you just see they pop Kraken, and then all four teammates die like 5 seconds later. I'm like, yeah, look, that's not great.
Crack and cheese?
Just really put a visual
It's
to that.
Baller Cheese 2.0. It's not
Yeah,
great.
it's not great. It's annoying, but it's not unstoppable. Um, yeah, just doing stuff like that is awesome. So I really hope they keep those kind of changes coming. Um, in terms of the scene, there's like there's a few things. One one of the kind of more general ones is I
Mm.
just wish people would realize like content is the way because there's still like a lot of people that are kind of big on like the esports dream and like too me too I hope to see Splatoon become a big esport one day, but like instead of just being here like let's keep making tournaments and hope that sponsors want to pay us, I'm like let's just make more, like let's have more people make videos
Yeah.
to stream and like give people a reason to sponsor you regardless of tournaments because
That's what
again like
Ghost Gaming essentially had.
Exactly. It's what people like Dude have done. Like, Dude is great at the game. He does well in tournaments he plays in, but the reason he does Splatoon full time is because he's so good at content.
Yeah.
Or like people like Chara, blowing up so big. Like I get to make a video like every month or two again because college, and even then I've gotten thousands of subscribers this year. Like it's crazy how well that stuff can like pay off. So for especially for people that have more time than me, like God, I'd love to see more people just explore it because you get paid through that, you get known through that, like you build connections through that, you build up your own skills. Like they
Hmm.
what about it, like even life skills I've learned through like learning how to edit, learning how to script, learning how to talk into a mic better. All this is like little things. It adds up really well. So I'd love to see more people do that. Well, another thing too is I have some gripes with the kind of structure of the scene.
Mm.
Probably a thing people have heard a fair bit of, like mid-level hell is a thing
Oh,
that exists.
yep,
Um,
that's where I live.
yep, yep. Because like you were saying earlier on this, like the amount the scene has grown and how things like low ink and other like entry level stuff really try. I mean, I say entry level, low ink's not entry level, but you know what
Not
I mean.
anymore,
Like,
it's not.
so
Yeah.
oh yeah, a lot of resources geared towards like helping people get established and find early goals, find early like teammates, kind of get themselves into the scene. Like the low level structure, awesome. Like top level has like Syndicate Invitational. It used to have Tassel, rest in peace.
R.I.P.
But
Tassel.
yeah, just like the plus server and stuff like that. Like there's stuff for top level. Like could there be more? Maybe, but there's still plenty. But they just have like mid level help. It's
Yeah.
like people come out of low ink, they feel bad at the game again because they go into tournaments against like everyone else because there's no longer like they're no longer in the skill cap stuff. And it's like, what are they actually supposed to do?
I even
Um,
just wish that there were more like unskill capped tournaments though to help with it because just the
yes,
more you play the
yes,
faster you'll improve and it feels like sometimes like there are weekends there's just not a tournament you can play in as mid-level. And
yeah.
like Sendo helps with that, but before Sendo it was just like, oh, I guess I'm just hoping I can get a scrim. Cool.
Yeah, like Sunny has been a big help about that. And like another thing too is like as great as it would be to be like let's just spawn more tournaments for like these kind of groups and like iron that out. There's definitely, I mean, first of all, TOs do enough, bless y'all.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
also like there's definitely more just overall like scene culture stuff as well that affects that. Like something I
Mhm.
really liked a few weeks ago was like FLC made a thread. It was related like the zones only versus all modes debate. We sort of went into like a side tangent about how like in Japan people just kind of look for X power to like justify like playing with you or not. This like I want to do a tournament at here +3, like 2800 plus 2900 plus, like
Yeah.
whatever. But like the West doesn't do anything like that. It's all of this like in scene like vouching for your skill or like get into the plus server or get recognized as low ink band or something. Like it's all the scene itself, like
Mhm.
or looty dips, God fucking forbid.
Oh, not the Ludi
Like
dibs.
all this stuff of like grouping like skill based on what others think of you. And so it also makes it really hard to like you can grind for a long time and get better at the game but not get recognized for it for a long time. It
Yeah.
can also make people feel stuck. Like the number of times I've heard complaints about that and stuff from people I coach, that they're like, I've been doing well in tournaments as of late and all that, but it just feels like I'm not getting
You have
anything
to
for it.
make your
Yeah.
connections, which
Yep.
is unfortunate.
Like
I'd say, but also the
yeah.
X Power thing, if you want to be like a pure support player, is also going to be a hindrance. So there's just such
Yeah.
downsides to both ways that I think if people would do a little bit more of both, that would be ideal.
Totally. Like again, that's why I'm like send a queue is nice.
It
It's
is.
another like kind of way of ranking that's a bit more objective because you can queue whenever you want with whoever you want,
And you can
all that
see
kind of
how
stuff.
everyone's placed.
Yeah, and also stuff like the auto vouchers into plus based on like
Yeah.
results. So you can also like if you do well, you don't need people to know you. Like you can just get into the servers
Yeah.
and make connections from there, show yourself from there. So that is a big step in the right direction. But I'd love just for more stuff like that and more like acceptance of stuff like that. Because I've even
Hmm.
seen people like complain of like, oh, who's this guy getting vouched into the plus server? I've never heard of them before. And I look back at their record and they haven't faced good people to get this. They don't deserve it. Like that just whole just gatekeeping.
Oh.
Like, oh my God. Like, I don't know. It's not an easy thing to solve. It's definitely just every time I think about it, I'm like, we have, again, like we're getting a lot of new players into the scene, like I was saying before, and that's a great thing. But I also love to like make their path forward more clear and more
Yes.
objective because there definitely are again some like, for a lack of a better word, kind of gatekeeping stuff can happen for sure with a number of like
Absolutely.
barriers into different levels. Um, but I'm glad people still find their way.
Yeah.
Like to some extent, I just again would like that to be a bit more like laid out, a bit more
Yeah.
obvious.
Yeah. Okay. So, any final thoughts, Pika? Any final closing thoughts?
Final closing thoughts. Content is good. Make content.
And
Um, Splatoon is cool. In my
Splatoon
thoughts.
is very cool. Well, thank you for coming on today. I appreciate it a lot. And if you would like to plug your socials, now would be the time.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for having me. I basically anywhere I am out there, my my tag or handle or whatnot will be pikadave465. Pika like Pikachu, Dave like the name Dave. On that's Twitter, that's Twitch, that's YouTube, that's Metafy where I do my coaching, all sorts of stuff. You just always find me there. Um, yeah, that's basically it for me.
Thank you for coming on. It's been great having you.